Hello.
Hi.
So when did you come online?
Just now.
Just now. We had a very good session. Welcome, Israel, to Golden Door. And thank you for taking this journey with me, with us. It's all about us.
Yes.
And you and Andrew.
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce Israel. Israel is, well, there's so many things, so many words to describe you, actually. You are a actor, mentor, I would say teacher, spiritualist. Was that the right word? In some ways, not. Yeah. And performer, inspirer, explorer. You're an explorer, yes. I remember when I went for your AB session, and
Yeah.
you were saying about exploring. We were talking about, earlier we had a panel, and we were talking about the narrow definition of truth. And one of the things we talked about is the who are you. I mentioned about the who are you. So the who are you is exploring. So we need to start this finding out who are we. This is the time to stop and discover. So you're an explorer, and you have explored yourself. Definitely you have. Now Israel has performed in movies and plays. And this particular play is the play by Murray Watts, the UK playwright, award-winning. The title is African Snow. It hasn't come out yet. This is a preview. And it'll come out when? Next year?
Yeah, next year.
Next year.
Touring next year.
So we have this privilege, and Israel has acted in Hollywood movies. Exorcist, right? Pirates Caribbean. You have acted in as Christ, and in the UK that was featured on BBC, and so many. There's such a long list. I can't even name. Yes, and he is also a consultant. McKinsey, was it?
Yes.
McKinsey, yes. And he's part of Authentic Business, which is to help organizations, the peoples in the organizations, to bring out their authentic self, bring out authentic leadership, and to thrive. That. So this it's quite unique, and they are pioneers, I would say. At least in Asia, you're pioneers. You started first of its kind, I think, in Singapore.
Yes.
No such program, I would say. Yes, it's quite spiritual. That's it's very, very spiritual led, yet very practical. Very practical leadership. So Israel is multifaceted, but he brings power of emotion in what he presents. This is what I see in you. You bring in that power. The nickname I remember, Burning Man. That's his nickname, Burning Man, and that is the power of emotion, the spirit, which comes out through whatever you're performing, whether you're speaking as a consultant or whether you're acting. Now, I want you to say a few words, Israel, about what you're going to present and why you're presenting it here in Golden Door.
Of course. Thank you, Tahira. And it's a real privilege, actually, to be speaking to you and to be speaking to all those that are tuning in. So I just want to say welcome to the Golden Doors. And I really hope that you will remember this weekend, because I really believe that what is taking place this weekend over the years will be something that is of seismic proportion. I think one of the reasons why I am honored to be part of this inaugural weekend, and really just why I spoke with Murray and just give them a little taste of what's to come, is because we're in a time where I think we as a world are being called to pause, look in the mirror and ask ourselves the questions that we so readily forget to ask ourselves. And that's all of us. And I think that this COVID reality that we are living in right now, Tahira, I think is something we never imagined, and that's why it's become so powerful. We know there are people all over the world that are no longer with us anymore. You know, one of our close friends and directors of Authentic Business is no longer with us anymore. And various peoples have had this reality come into their lives, into their status quo in a way that they could not have foreseen. What that does, it causes us to pause and say, what's going on? Because what it did to all of us, it shook our foundations in such a way that it asked us to question the way we've built our foundations. Are they actually working? And that's a question and a moment of truth. Truth is something that's synonymous with golden doors. And golden doors, we want it to be synonymous with truth. It's about truth, the written word and the spoken word, and therefore, what is the product of that? And in this time, everybody is still functioning in this, almost this PTSD place we're in, because we're still trying to work out, wow, what just happened? What's just taken place to my business, to our lives, to certain households, to their marriages, to our children, to our schooling system? What has just happened? And the question we need to ask ourselves now is, what's the question I need to ask myself so that I'm building on a foundation of truth? And that's why I think it's incredible with what's happening with Golden Doors. I think what's happening right now and what's going to take place over this next weekend is not a mistake. And I think it allows us to start to connect with other men and women, leaders, who say, I want truth to be my modus operandi. I want truth to be my currency. I want truth to be how I show up in the room so that I can truly bring the change that needs to happen. And that's why we're excited. Yes, I'm going to show you a clip in this time of what's to come. And yes, we're going to talk about it. But actually, the bigger thing is, how can we make connections over this next weekend, with men and women who have the same burning passion to be arbiters, orators, builders of truth, that we can build a bridge of truth right across the nations, where we can build a platform where fake news, false realities, false paradigms, when they come in, we can smell them straight away and say, that's not truth. This is what truth looks like. Because truth is something, it's somebody, it's a demonstration, and it is an organization. It's a currency, and it can be a culture that really brings the greater good. And so for those reasons, that's why Authentic Business has walked with you along this reality of golden doors. And that's why we're excited over this weekend to meet the many people where we can take them to a place and look in the mirror and invite them to say, what is my truth now? And what does that truth look like in my purpose for the rest of my life? And so, as you know, we're going to have an amazing session with Authentic Business on Sunday about finding your life purpose. And that is really a signature session that brings people to a place of truth. Now, for me as an actor, as a director of Authentic Business, everything I do has to be about truth. It has to come from a place where I tell a story that touches the reality of my listener, my viewer, or anybody I'm coming close to. That is what it's about. Because as a creative, as a storyteller, as a consultant that has the pleasure of traveling all over the world and working with some amazing global figures, when it comes to a place of truth, everything changes. And it doesn't always mean it changes for the good initially. Sometimes you need to pull down the lies you've built up in your life, in your organization, for truth to emerge. But like a beautiful sunflower, when it stands tall, everybody can see it. And so when we come to the play African Snow, we wanted to do it because the birth of truth came out with the Black Lives Matters Everybody knows what I'm talking about. And so the writer Murray Watt, as you said, is an award-winning writer, has done Hollywood things, West End shows. He said to me, Israel, we did a play some years ago, and there was a character in the play called Olaudah Equiano. Olaudah Equiano is an unsung hero in the history and the truth of why slavery was abolished. We talk about William Wilberforce for the very right reasons. He was the white face, the face that all would listen to make this a reality as he spoke and fought in the British Parliament. But in the 1700s, when Equiano was alive, he was a slave that was kidnapped from Nigeria at the age of 11. He was a prince in the tribal sense. And he then traveled the world with various slave masters and then bought his freedom, became a believer in Jesus. He became a Christian. And then he said, I need to go and share my story from my reality to the world. He serialized his painful story, and then William Wilberforce picked up his serialization, read it, and that was one of the core pillars of William Wilberforce's arguments for why slavery was ungodly, unchristian, and as human beings, we could not condone this act of barbarity. And it took many years, but as we know, he then drove this through as an act in Parliament, and that began the British and the European abolition of slavery. Equiano did not see it fulfilled. He died en route, but African Snow charts the story of his meeting, his painful journey, and his inner narrative of why this had to happen. And that's why we wanted to let you have a little taste of what that was about. I can't hear you.
I didn't want to disturb your speech, so I muted it and I forgot. I said, I'm sure the audience would love and be very inspired by what you're going to share in this clip, this preview. As you had shared with me, just was it yesterday or the day before, and I was very moved. It was a very emotional and eye-opening realization that we need to change our ways and bring out something more within us and become change. Basically, it's this radical change in ourselves. Radical change has happened. It should happen now.
Yes.
All across.
Yes.
So I leave it to you. You want to go more into it, or you want to show?
Yes. What I'll do, let's go into the clip. I'll show the clip, and then after the clip, we'll come back.
Yes, you can come back.
We'll have a little talk.
A little talk. Then,
yes. And there may be some questions in the chat.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so this clip I'm about to show you guys, it's a clip that, and I'm being very real, it's very early, so it's just a taste of the sort of narrative and the heartbeat of what this story is about. And it is a one-man show. It was a big West End play, but we made it a one-man show in this COVID reality that the creative arts will still be in. We've made it a one-man show. We're trying to be much more site-specific and much more sensitive to the reality that we'll have as we take this on tour. But the clip I'm about to give you is when Olaudah starts to talk about his first encounter of the barbarity that he saw on the slave ship. So let's hope this works. Let's just go in and let's just application. Right. So let's see if it will.
Just take your time. Don't worry.
Yes.
Yes, and you can maximize. You have to share that video.
Right.
Yeah, go to that where your video is.
Yeah. Can you see the video now? Blank screen or?
No, you cannot share the. You share the video. Close this one. Share the video itself.
Right.
Okay.
That's good. And let's just go to the application window. Interesting. Right. So just bear with me, guys.
Yeah, just bear with me.
Okay. I've got it here. So what I will do, just give me a second. And I will. Modern technology.
If you don't know, can't do it, ask Bogdan to do it. Let me ask him. Bogdan is here. Okay. Yeah, Bogdan can do it for you.
Great.
Yeah, he's there on the right. Do you
Okay.
want to, yeah, let him do it for you. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Bogdan. Let's just say yes, please do. Great.
You can maximize the screen, everyone, of that video. Click maximize video if you wish.
There you go. Great.
We're going to maximize it.
Can
you maximize it, Bogdan?
I studied every face of those poor, lost creatures, but I could not see her. They all disappeared. Some into the hell below, but there were some. There were girls as young as... They went into the cabins. They took the young women and girls. Some of them were taken down by the bad spirits. And they were joking and laying wagers. They were making deals with each other. They were drunk. They were drunk on fiery water. They were shouting drunk. The wise ones, they kept quiet. They kept the counsel of the elders. They were keeping their mouths shut. But there was one. She was about 10, 11. She was strong. She was beautiful. She was fighting and kicking. And they took her down. One man took her like a prize, like a reward from his demon god. She was screaming, fighting and biting. And then the cry, the sound. And then she ran up the stairs, up past me. I saw her, I looked her in the eyes, and I reached to touch her. And then she jumped. She jumped the nets. She jumped clean over. As I saw her rolling eyes, she entered the water. I reached out, but she had gone. I stood up, and then a man ran past me with his breeches flapping in the wind. He was raining down punches on anyone that stood in his way. And he leaned over and he was shouting, "Come back and get it! Come back and get it, you little bitch! Come back and get it!" I stood there. seeing her small dark image round and round, going further into the darkness, like a fish escaping the line, round and round and round. The sailor went back inside, cursing. None of the slaves on the deck moved. They just kept silent. I just kept saying, Chuma, Chuma Ifem. I know it was foolish, but it was as if she was my sister, but my sister Chuma was too tall. This girl had breasts. She had rings around her neck, but I just kept saying, Chuma, Chuma. I kept saying this for many days.
So, thank you, Kevin. You can see, you know, the bandwidth, but Bogdan, thank you. Really saving my bacon there. For some reason, it wasn't touching, it wasn't going, but thank you, Mystique. Yeah, it's a very powerful piece. Yeah, very intense, and I mean the whole piece has a lot of levity and laughter, but the places that are intense and powerful really do hit home. And so for me, I think one of the reasons why, you know, we do this, and one of the reasons why I wanted to show it is because this is what truth did. Thank you, Basu. This is what truth did in that day, because until that time, there were stories upon stories, and the stories are always softened by the slave traders. Yet, all of a sudden, a slave himself was able to give an account of the hollow world, which is beneath deck on the ship, and how these traders, as you heard, would take their pick of the girls that were doing the slave triangle, which was, you know,
Yes.
Africa, the West Indies, the Bahamas, across the Atlantic, and they would do whatever they wanted to do.
Yes. You can see some of the comments from the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
The emotive appeal makes it memorable. They stop breathing. My heart is crying, my body in pain. White
Yeah.
very much into protection of children, the child abuse that's happening. She's very much into that, reflecting my work with women and children and slave torture. There's a lot of torture of children, by the way, even happening now in huge numbers.
Yes.
It's in secret. So she's very much trying to resolve that situation. Wendy, your colleague, your partner in crime is here. It was very intense. I could not see. Okay. Oh, I see. But the voice, the emotions of anger, fear, and what is true in that moment. Powerful voice, Israel. Intense, powerful. And yes, a lot of emotion that was left. Love your expressions. Okay, great. A lot of comments were coming in. Powerful presence and voice, authenticity. So real. After seeing Kevin Coton is saying this is so real, and after seeing in Africa, I can relate in a small way. Intense, powerful, very effective, fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And what would you like to leave? Now they've watched you. What would you like them to take with them? Which they are feeling, what the emotion now. What do you
I think
do with it?
what I want our listeners and viewers to really do is ask themselves, what is in the way of me living out my truth? What is in the way of me completely doing that which I know I need to do? Because the emotion you're feeling the emotion of those people who are still at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. You're feeling the emotion of a race of people that for the first time in modern history, the world is listening in a way that they've never listened before. Black Lives Matters. And for me, this may be a controversial comment, but Black Lives Matters, it's great, but it's much bigger than that. Mm-hmm. They're not the only door, they're not the only window. And personally, that's not my standpoint. It's much, much bigger. All life matters. All lives matter. It's happening in India, in China, in Africa. It's happening in my country right now. Modern slavery, sex slavery, child slavery. It's happening right now. And I think what we have to do is start to speak our truth, and it starts from being open and honest enough to say something's happening in my neighborhood and I've turned a blind eye. Or something's happening in my school and I've turned a blind eye on my work, or these sort of things. And so with the emotion you're feeling, I want you to be able to say, okay, where have I annoyed these emotions before? Where have I allowed my modern way of being, my cultural way of being, my cultural idiosyncrasies, where have I allowed that to prohibit me from being what I need to be in this moment for somebody else? Because as a nation, as a people, are we truly reaching out from a place of truth? My wife said to me one day, I wonder if we as people are actually afraid of unconditional love, because most of the love we exhibit is conditional. Yeah. I will love you until you do this wrong. That's not love at all.
Yeah, that's right. We use that word, but we don't honor it.
No, absolutely not. And that's what I love about Golden Doors to Hear. That's why I'm so excited. Because we need a lampstand, we need a firebrand, we need a brand that is unconditional in its pursuit of truth and in its pursuit of authenticity, that we would over the coming years be able to have a brand and a stamp that says, I have a golden door stamp of integrity and truth. That means if you enter a relationship with our organization, there's certain behaviors that come with it. Yeah. You see, if I am someone that's known as an author that's been shortlisted or been given an award through the Golden Doors, then you know that as a reporter, as a writer, as a commentator, there's truth and integrity in what I stand from, what I say. And those are the things that we need to be championing now. Because we are in a place where the media and the medium of media is getting bigger and bigger, and it cannot be policed in the way it could before. So how can we ensure that those that come to that medium are hearing truth and are in safe hands? And that's important for me, who have 3 children with my Danish wife, Catherine. That's an important part of it for me, as well as moving hearts as an actor and a director, and of course a consultant.
Thank you so much. Actually, we're going to close, but I want to invite everyone here who's been watching, please join the workshop, which is going to be led by Andrew Chua and Israel and Wendy.
And Wendy,
And Wendy, tomorrow, 4 p.m. Singapore time. Please join. And you're going to have a transformative experience. You're gonna see your purpose. It'll be clearer to you.
Absolutely.
Interactive,
Yes.
highly interactive, and you learn a lot about each other also. So, okay, we are going to close up now.
Yes.
And it was wonderful.
Thank you, Tahira.
And
one thing I'll say very quickly, and then we jump off. We're going to be at the network event later on. So
great.
all those providers there, you know, myself, Andrew, we're going to be there. Get in the network, speak to us. If you want to, you know, type in the chat, let's connect, let's grow. Those that are creative and want to do bigger things, let's talk on the creative scale.
Yes.
Let's talk on the business scale, and let's make this work.
9, that's later at the end of the inauguration. Please stay on right to the end, okay? Stay logged in. Bye. Everyone. Just leave. Okay, see you.
Bye.
All right, we're back 5:20. Go ahead. Bye.